Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, this is the few long-awaited updates that we actually had to see to. Um, and I'm finally getting through them now. So we've still got this car to go through. We've got another one on the undercarriage that's on the rotisserie vehicle. We've got the full metal work car out. We've got the Sonova red one. We've got the Calypso car that's got all the rust, and we've got a good few other cars here to start getting on with. But for now, let's just concentrate on this vehicle, right? And this here was the car that came in last year. Basically bought as a restored vehicle, and we started finding a whole lot of drama under it. So if you guys remember correctly, we had a whole lot of Sika flex on the body, right? And then these holes, your holes for your kit were all widened and oversized basically, so your original grommets and clips couldn't fit in there. They couldn't be used. So guys used Sika flex basically to get the kit to fit on, and we pulled everything apart. So anyway, the car is dusty now. We actually had the car sprayed up in late November, early December, and we got the car prepped. So the motor's standing on that side. I'll go through it with you guys now. The motor's fully built still. We got ready to put the car together, and something told me as we started wiping the engine bay off. Remember, on this car we didn't strip this car down to the bone or anything of the sort, right? The carpet was still in, the interior was still in. We just done the work basically on under the kit. There was a couple of brackets here and there on the engine bay that had to be seen to, and then we just like the back floorboard, there was issues there, but we didn't go in detail into it. So anyway, we brought the car back to the assembly shop, and I started getting the interior, the engine bay cleaned up. So I asked one of my guys, I said, do me a favor, move the firewall mats away, the rubber mats. And we I think that, look, it's the best thing and the worst thing that we could have done. We found a whole lot of rust under this car. So, and it was basically the rust was covered up. So anyway, what we done was we pulled the mats off and we started digging in deeper. And the more we dug in them again, the more we found. So yes, it had a fresh coat of paint on it, but we just started finding a whole lot of issues on this vehicle. So what we done was, I contacted the customer. We brought the customer in. We basically showed him where the rust items are, and we've made a decision to say, you know what, let's do this body properly. Let's get it done properly and get the rust repaired first properly, and let's give the car full respray. So having said that, again, we're going to go through the whole process of stripping the vehicle, right? But we first wanted to tackle the severity of the rust. So before we started stripping down, I just took the fender off. The front bumper and stuff was off already. We took that off previously, right, when we done our repairs and stuff. But we're starting to dig in more deeper, and we found rust almost everywhere on the vehicle. So it is not as severe as the other vehicles, but guys, we can't put a vehicle together like this here knowing that there is rust covered up. It's just not right. And what's going to happen is in 2 years time or 3 years time, your rust is going to start, because it's covered up on top. It doesn't mean that it's covered up at the bottom or it's taken out. The cancer will start spreading, and it's going to start spreading through everything underneath. And eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to have a car fall apart as you're driving it without you knowing. That's the reality of it. So we've left everything else on. We've left the clips and beadings and rain gutter beadings and that on, and we just started stripping out and paint stripping as much as possible. And we're starting to find a lot of the areas. So now that we know where we are, we're then going to strip everything else off, and we're going to go through the process of basically it's not a color change, it's basically a respray, right? But we cannot respray with masking this car off anyway. It's just not going to look correct. So unfortunately, everything else has got to come off. We got to go through that process. But for now, let me take the camera quickly off. Let's go through the rust areas on this car. And again, like I said in my previous videos, is that this year we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, right? So we're busy with new equipment, we're busy with new tools, with new gear, and we're just doing a lot of research as well. But our next good couple of episodes are going to be very, I'm going to call it metal entailed, meaning that all the metal work that we entail, I'm not going to show you a video of this is how it looked before and then afterwards. I'm actually going to try and go through the process. So you'll get a few of us in the videos, right? I'll probably start the videos off, and then the rest of the guys will take over. So your guys like myself, Jason, at the other shop, it'll be Halton there. Ryan might come into play. They will take over the videos. So like I've mentioned in the previous videos before, that it's actually going to get exciting to see the work done on these vehicles. And we're also going to show that we're trying not to cover anything up. Our builds do take long. The work on the cars do take long. We do have unforeseen issues, yes, but the general work of it takes long. So let's go through it quickly, and then we're going to try and assess what we're going to, how we're going to tackle it firstly, and what our way forward is, right? Okay, so basically you can see, right, have a look at the car, sorry, have a look at the car on the side. You'll see there's dust layers everywhere on the car. So it's not waves on the car, it's just dust. But the holes all basically closed up, so we had all these holes in here, and let's see what I'm talking about with dust, right? So we had to punch obviously the original all holes in there, but we had to re-weld these holes up all the way through, repair this area. There was a lot of body filler on the doors itself, right? And re-weld them up, and we've got to re-drill them according to the grommet size. That was done. Unfortunately, all that work is going to come out and have to get redone. So as you can see, the car is dirty. So again, I asked them to basically move over the firewall mats, and we started. That's where we found the rust issues. So we started inspecting in there, right? And the thing is, if you look at this firewall, now this is paint strip. So here we basically came down with a wire brush. There's two things I'm going to mention to you guys, right? One is there's rust issues underneath certain areas. The second thing is there's rust issues underneath the panels. So having said that, what the issue that we're actually going to face here is not on this panel here. The issue is on the panel at the bottom. You understand? So what's going to happen is that you're not going to have this or the battery tray rusting up. The battery tray looks good here, but you're going to have rust creeping in underneath the battery tray. So basically what we've done is we've gone and stripped down as much as possible. And you can see here's an area here that needs to be tackled. This is not too bad here. You can see here it was repaired before and stitched, but it's got to, this whole tray has got to come out. We've got to repair underneath the battery tray and then put the battery tray back on. This is the more common area. So I've got flies in this shop. There's no food here, but there's flies. Anyway, look here. So we've got holes like this basically all over the car. So if you look at this area here, there's a big hole in there, and this is actually a crappy panel to work in, but we've got to get working in there. So in order for us to work in there, the dashboard's got to come off. We've got to strip the wiring off. We've got to strip the sponging on the inside off, the sponging on the outside off, and then figure out how to get into that panel. How many panels are involved with this layer, if I can call it that. We've got this panel to work in, and you can see it's not an easy area to get into. There's holes in there, and so bottom line is, yes, it's a small hole. We can cover it up with sealer. We can clean it up and just paint over it or whatever we want to do, but that rust is just going to creep in everywhere else. Biggest issue is this panel has been repaired before. Look at the rust underneath it. So we've got to basically repair this whole panel, and again we're going to do a full video on that. Look, the chassis legs on this car look okay, but I think it'll be safer for us, before we even say it's okay, to do a strip down on it, and then from there have a look at it. So you can see on the metal there is pit marks on there already, right? And that pit marks mean that it's gonna start rusting. There is rust on the end. This is the pitting area I'm talking about. So we've got to take the column out, the steering column out. We've got to take, okay, that's a master cylinder pipe, and then there's a nice hole there. We've got to take those guys out, and we've got to repair that, get rid of the pitted area, and we should be able to carry on with the metal from there. So you can see the door cuts are still in, and it's actually a nice car. I drove this car. The car drives well, but this is what makes a car a dog, and we don't want this car to be a dog. Customer's a very good guy. He's a very sincere guy, a good guy, and all he wants is just a decent car. So we've stripped everything out. This is rust treater that you can see on here, so it's not a floor that's been replaced, but you can see this panel has been replaced before. So again, they've been through issues, and just as well we took the carpet out. This is the wiring that we find on the car. So that's another video, but we'll go through the wiring as well. Look at all the pit marks here. This is all pitting, right? And you can see here there is also some of them are weld burns and some of them are rust holes. These are rust holes, and you can actually see underneath here that it is starting to rot up. So what the guys have done is they've put a nice panel in on top, but again have not treated the rust underneath. So this rust underneath is basically just creeping in everywhere and eating the car up from the inside. So what we have to do is here first cut out the metal work on this side here, clean that out, assess how far the rust is getting into, and then start repairing the rust work. So you'll see here, this is the common places for your E30. It's not very common, but it is a common place. This here we'll just see how far the pitting is and get that sorted out. And again on the floorboard here as well. So you've got these holes starting to creep in here. You'll see here, there's holes everywhere you go, starting to creep in. This area has been repaired before, but there you've got rot inside. So this is going to be actually quite challenging, but it'll be fun to work with. So if you guys remember how this boot looked before, I'm going to pull this mat out quickly. How this boot looked before, right? Sorry. So this boot was actually, it had a lot of, not rust, it was like panel beated. And this is how we finished the up. But like I told you, this car came in for a lot of touch-ups basically, right? Not mainly for rust work or panel work. This side here looks right, but we found issues in the front here, and you can actually see. Jason, just open here for me, please. You'll actually see how far, just while Jason's opening up for us, how far the issue is going in here. This is how big the hole is, basically from the inside out. This is bad welding here that's just not treated well, not cleaned up properly, and starting to affect the rest of the car now. And I guarantee you we're going to find a lot of issues under this jacking point. So we might have to do a sandblast further. And the nice thing is on this here we can do a sandblast because we're not too worried about the panels. But this is a clean example of what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is how the rust is pulling in. This is one panel, and it's basically the rust has gone past your spot welds onto the panel and starting to break through like this here. So you can see it was repaired before. Welding is like birdshot, but it was repaired before, and we gotta go through it now. It doesn't look like there was any welding on this side here, but we're gonna basically clean up and go as far as we can. So like I told you, we were actually quite far with this car, and here's the motor of the car. I actually put the motor next to the car so I can show you guys how far we got. And yes, there's a couple of parts still missing. Your bogey cord holders are not there, the aircon pump is not there, the power steering pump has been done, but have a look at this motor. So this is a nice foam, it's a nice clean motor. We went gold on the engine bracket. Instead of making this here normal silver, we went gold on that. We just done a nice blast basically on the intake and tappet cover. We got to strip the throttle up nicely and replate where we can. You can see I got a small defect here, so I've taken this nut off, so I know that I've got to take that guy back off. We've gone with the gold Welsh plugs as to the silver stainless steel ones. We're happy with that. You'll see the samples are done. Everything is basically done. It looks the part. And the motor, this here I got a 2.8 motor, a 2.8 bottom end, if you can call it that. So we're running a 2.8 crank, 2.8 rods and pistons. We kept it 84.5 millimeter. We've done a slight flow to the head, running it with a 276 cam. So it's a nice mild motor. It's nothing wild. It'll be a nice mild motor running on a airflow. But basically, motor got bolt up. But unfortunately, I'll have to get put in. So we'll complete the motor, put everything together. Let's see, like this bolt, I still need to get to do this bolt, yeah. The oil filter housing bolt. Get that done, and maybe I'll change your bogey cords, change the I need to get the cover for the front, so I'll change the cap because they come with the covers. And we'll get that changed. But this is how she looks. So again, guys, why do we take so long to build? Is because we end up finding crap, and we're trying not to cover up any of these holes or cover up any of the work. So it does take longer, and we've got to strip down further in order for us to get the metal work done properly without just cutting off a plate and putting a plate back in. It takes long. So what we're going to do on this, guys, this is one of the vehicles. The Calypso vehicle is at the back there. There's an Nova vehicle that's also, we found some rust on that now. And here's another car that we're going to, okay, that's the mat I threw out. Another car that I still need to do an update on. We need to do a few updates on cars. So guys, I hope that you guys are looking forward to the next couple of episodes, because that's where our in detailed metalwork process will be in. We're going to go through this process. We're hoping to get it as proper as possible without cutting the cars apart and changing panels and using panels from other cars that are rusted already. Anyway, guys, let me not keep you guys up longer. I hope you enjoy this update. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. If you're happy with the content, share it with your friends, tell your friends. And I will keep you updated within the next week or two with this vehicle. Cheers, guys.